guys, what is up and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video I'm going to be talking about the most common mistakes made on some of the best exercises for leg day, and these are some of the best exercises but are really easy to be performed wrong. Even I struggle with form sometimes still. And then I also did a poll on my Instagram to do this or one of my leg day workouts, and this one won, though I'm probably going to do one of my leg day workouts and film that soon. But I just wanted to get this up for you guys so that you can see how to properly perform these exercises. So don't forget to hit that like button and that subscribe button. And if you want to see some of the most common mistakes made during some leg day exercises, then just keep watching. Be showing the wrong exercise first, and then I'm going to be going into the right exercise after. So the first one, squats. The ice cream man. Can you shut up now, please? Okay, I don't know if you can still hear the ice cream man or not, but the first exercise that I'm doing or talking about are back squats. So for back squats, I noticed that one main thing I see people do wrong is looking straight up. So this is something that I just fixed, I think about a few months ago, but I would always take the bar and I would look upwards, and I noticed that that messes up my spine alignment. And so you don't want to look down, but you also don't want to look up. You kind of want to have a neutral position. You want to, if there's a mirror at your gym when you're squatting, then you kind of want to look at yourself the whole time. And if not, then just hold a neutral position with your head and do not look up, because that could strain your back and that could also mess up your spine alignment when you are squatting. You also want to make sure you do not lock out your knees when you come back up. One common myth when squatting is that when you come up, you want to do that butt squeeze. It's kind of like a thrust. So I know a lot of people are probably going to be shook at this part, but you actually do not want to thrust forward because that can end up injuring you in the long run. And although you do want to squeeze your glutes when you are doing back squats because you want to feel it in your glutes, you can still squeeze your glutes without thrusting forward. So next time you're squatting, just do the same thing, but do not thrust forward, and you still can squeeze your glutes and get that same feeling in your glutes. And also, when going back up, you want to make sure to keep your knees bent, not completely locked out, because that keeps the tension in your glutes and in your legs. When you come all the way up, you might hurt your knees, and it's just better to stay in a position where your knees are not locked out. When going down, you want to think about kind of spreading the floor with your knees and making sure that your knees go out as well. Another thing I see people do wrong is leaning their upper body forward too much. This is where I hear a lot of people complaining about lower back pain when they're squatting. So when you do squats like this, it puts a lot of tension on your lower back, and you are lifting the weights with your upper body as opposed to lifting with your quads and your glutes. It just forces all of the weight to be shifted to your upper body as opposed to your lower body. Very common mistake, lifting your upper body down as you're going down as opposed to keeping a straight back and keeping your spine neutral to avoid that butt wink at the bottom. So the right form is keeping a neutral position with your head, not looking up, not looking down, also keeping that spine aligned, making sure when you come down you think about spreading the floor so your knees go out. You want to make sure that you go as deep as you can without injuring yourself, and if you can't go that deep down yet, then that's fine. Just do not hurt yourself and try to go deeper than you can. Just stretch, and over time you'll be able to go deeper. The next exercise is the Romanian deadlifts. One common mistake for this exercise is keeping your back rounded and not straightening out your back. So this leads to you lifting again with your upper body as opposed to your lower body. If you keep your knees locked, then you could injure yourself. So you want to make sure that you keep your back straight and you want to hinge at your hip. You want to think about pushing your glutes back all the way to the wall. And doing this, you want to slowly go down with the straight back and really focus on pushing the weight up with your hamstrings and your lower body as opposed to your upper body to reduce that pain or tension that some people say they feel when they're doing deadlifts in their back. So this is where that comes from. If you are feeling it in your back, then you might be doing the exercise wrong. The next exercise is the leg press. One common mistake I see people do, I actually saw someone doing it while I was filming this, is locking out your knees at the end of this exercise. So you could really injure yourself when you're locking out your knees at the end of this if you are pushing really heavy weight. You want to make sure that your feet are shoulder width apart and you don't want to press all the way. You want to make sure that you do not lock out your knees. As you see, I am pushing the weight slowly right before my knees are about to lock. One common mistake too is that people will push weight that is so heavy that their butt will start to raise off of the seat, and you want to make sure that you keep your back and your butt against that seat, and as well as keeping your knees not locked out. As you can see, I have the camera zooming in onto the weights. One thing you want to do to keep the tension in your quads while doing this is not slamming the weights down. You want to make sure that the weights don't hit the stack because that keeps the tension within your legs while doing this exercise. So you can have your feet placed any way you want for this exercise because different feet placement leads to this exercise working different muscles a little bit differently. But as long as you choose your feet placement, you push out, not all the way, right before your knees lock out so you do not hurt yourself. Next exercise, lunges. So I'm just going to be doing walking lunges in this video, but this is just for lunges in general. So something wrong that I see a lot of people doing, again, is leaning their upper body forward too much, which leads to a lot of the tension being in your knees and your lower back. So a lot of people ask me how to do lunges without feeling the pain in their knees. So maybe this might be, you might be putting your upper body down instead of keeping your upper body upright. So make sure when you go down for that lunge, you keep your upper body straight. So make sure you keep your back straight and you come straight down, and do not lean that upper body forward, because if you do that, then that will lead to a lot of tension in your knees and in your back, and you will not feel it at all in your quads or your glutes, which is obviously what we don't want. Another common exercise that I see a lot of girls doing is the hip thrusts. Hip thrusts are amazing for the glutes, obviously we all know that, but they can also be detrimental if you are not performing them correctly. So a lot of people I see performing it without tucking their chin. As you can see right here, I am just swinging that bar and my head looks like it's kind of gonna fall off. So you want to make sure that you tuck your chin. Think about looking forward, tucking your chin to your chest, because it will keep your head in the same position throughout the whole exercise, and this is really important when you are doing this so you do not hurt yourself. Is that you want to make sure when you are fully up and your glutes are in the shortened position that the bench makes your knees go to a 90-degree angle, because otherwise that means that the bench is either too high or too low. So you just want to make sure that the bench makes your knees go at that 90-degree angle. And also another mistake I see is that a lot of people will try to go really heavy for these hip thrusts. Actual best position where the hip thrust works your glutes is when you are thrusting up, basically where your glutes are in the shortened position. If your weight is really heavy, the weight is usually so heavy that you don't actually hit a full range of motion within the hip thrust exercise. So when you're going too heavy, you cannot hit that full range of motion, and the most important part of the hip thrust is the part where the glutes are in the shortened position, but usually you cannot even hit that motion when you are pushing too heavy weights with the hip thrust. Make sure that your chin is tucked and your shoulder blades are on the pad. You don't want your whole back on the bench. And your feet placement does not matter. I mean, it matters depending on what you want to hit. You could do wide placement, narrow placement. They all hit different muscles. If someone tries to tell you your foot placement is wrong, technically they're wrong, because your feet placement can't really be wrong. You're just hitting a different muscle group. For this exercise, we're going to be talking about the goblet squat. So for this one, again, when performed wrong, you sometimes lean a little bit too forward, and this leads to all the tension again being in your lower back. And I think a lot of these exercises, a lot of the mistake is using your upper body and leaning it too forward when you're going down for squats or lunges or any type of compound movement. You want to make sure you keep your back straight and go down, and as you come up, do not lock out your knees. You want to keep your knees again at that position right before they lock out to keep that tension within your glutes. Make sure you do not thrust your hips forward and squeezing the butt. I know for some of you it seems so crucial, and it might feel like your whole life is a lie once you find out that that's actually a myth. But actually, just focus on keeping that tension in your glutes. You could really squeeze those glutes without thrusting forward, and keeping that back straight and keeping your position neutral. Do not look up, do not look down, to keep that spine alignment in place. And for the last exercise, we're going to be talking about kickbacks. So I actually don't do kickbacks that much because I prefer compound movements as opposed to isolated and accessory movements, just because compound movements make me sweat like a bitch and they're really hard, but I like hard shit. So for this one, a lot of people will stand upright and kick backwards or swing the weight really fast, and as you can see, all of the tension is coming from my back, my lower back. And this is why some people say they might not even feel this exercise in their glutes, is because they're standing upright and not really getting that contact with the glutes. So to fix this, grab a wall that is close to you and just lean down until your back is completely parallel with the ground. And you should notice that when you do this, all of the tension is no longer in your back, and you are really going to be pushing that weight back with your glute muscle as opposed to your lower back. So that is it for this video on the most common leg day mistakes I see in the gym. If you guys want to see another video like this, maybe on upper body exercises, then just let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and also please critique me if you guys disagree with any of my corrections to these exercises, just because I'm not an expert and this is just kind of what I've kind of seen going into the gym and being on social media. But I am not an expert, I'm not a personal trainer, so if you have any constructive criticism, feel free to leave it to me, send me a DM, text me if you know me. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate all you guys that watch this. And again, don't forget to hit that like button if you did like this video. Comment down below and hit that subscribe button as always. Bye guys, thank you so much for watching.